Razavani for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlasting. Delighted to have with me on Zoom my man, Richard Riakporhe. Richard, we caught up probably about 10 days ago where we discussed the Anthony Joshua Alexander Usyk fight, and you gave your insight being in camp with Anthony Joshua. Was it a shock to you yesterday?
You know what? It was, of a person of Usyk's caliber, it wasn't a shock. At the same time, I knew it was going to be a tough fight. A lot of the boxing casuals, they didn't realize who this guy was. They didn't know anything about him. They just thought he just popped up off the scene and he's trying to dethrone the champ, but it's not going to happen. Not big enough, coming up from cruiserweight. Not enough power. Everybody's always talking about Usyk's power. It's not like a heavyweight, like a natural heavyweight power. And people believe that Joshua was going to get the KO, like myself. But it's just, I feel like he really impressed me. He really impressed me because he was able to box with this guy. I've never seen anybody box with Usyk like that. That's the truth. Without using his size, and his other strengths, his attributes, his physical strength, size. So you have to give him credit for that. There were some rounds where I could see it like going in his favor, because coming up to the halfway point, it was like 4-2, could have gone 3-3. He was in the fight. He was in there. But it was just towards the end, that's when it started to slip completely. Like he was losing the rounds, round by round. He was winning, which was, it was hard to watch. But you have to give AJ praise. He's one of those throwback fighters, man. He could have shied away from that challenge. He could have done something else, but he took that challenge. I feel like the game plan that they used for that fight was completely wrong. He probably needed to pressure, use his size, rough him up, and pressure him, intelligent pressure. Because we know that type of fighter is not a normal type of fighter. He's very intelligent, very strategic. His team is very intelligent also. So I think, in the rematch, it'll be difficult at the same time, but with a different game plan, I believe they can win 100%. He showed that. I think there was one of the rounds where he was throwing the shots to the body and was coming forward, edging forward closely. And then he went on a walk. He started bouncing around the ring and he started to control it. I think with this fight, it was all about control. He was going to control who. And Joshua did really well, but it was almost like you're playing a man at his own game. He's a pure boxer, and he's trying to use his same chess strategy and mirror him at the same time. But he's got an advantage over you. He's faster, he's smaller, more agile. It's going to be very tough challenge. Whereas you could have made it easier for yourself, and it's all good. Chelsea, all these teams, everybody loses, and comes back. Nobody wins it all, except unless your name is Mayweather. That's how it goes. And he just needs to come back again, sit down with the team, and just go over the plans and prepare diligently for the rematch.
I know you obviously were in camp with Joshua for a number of weeks.
Yeah.
A lot of people looked at Usyk's previous two heavyweight fights against obviously Witherspoon and Derek Chisora. Do you feel like, was there any kind of, at any stage, do you feel like he was being underestimated by people around you, or was it generally?
Nobody underestimated Usyk coming into this fight. They knew what type of opponent this was, and they knew what this would demand of them. Southpaw, slick, agile, undefeated. Plus, a lot of people in the camp, in and around his camp, we heard some leaks saying that, listen, this guy is very, very strong mentally. So we always knew that was going to be a challenge. You know, he has that fighting spirit, and it was a thing where they had to just find a style to box with this guy, to adapt and to deal with this type of opponent. But it was difficult. You know, I just feel like that strategy was the wrong strategy to go by. I think maybe they should have changed it. He did change it as well, to be fair. Those parts of the round where he's come forward, I think I mentioned already, and that was effective. That's the Joshua that everybody wanted to see. So that's why when I checked the comments, people weren't shocked about the loss. They were more shocked. They were more disappointed, sorry. They were more disappointed because they felt like he could have done more. But like I said, everybody can have opinions. Like, man, you should have thrown the jab a bit more, should have touched him up to the body, should have done a bit of this. Like, what was happening? It wasn't good enough that night. It's a shambles. But everybody can have opinion because they're outside. They haven't fought nobody. They're not professional fighters. They don't know how it is in there. And also other external variables that could have affected his performance. And that's a big thing. You know, injury is real. You know, different things could have been a factor. You just don't know. But you know, because people are of a certain class like Joshua, nobody will ever know. For instance, if we go back to Ruiz, what did he say after the fight? Well done, congratulations. The best man won in the night, and that's it. Everybody knew that something was wrong because you could see in his body language from when he entered the ring, from when he was walking towards the ring. And, you know, that's why everybody needs to kind of just lay back and just chill. You know what I'm saying? Just chill. Give him encouragement, which is what he needs and what is good for him, and let him and his team go back to the drawing board and find a strategy to beat Usyk, because Usyk is not Superman.
Obviously, after the fight yesterday, people asked, the media asked Usyk, would they expect Anthony Joshua to be tougher in the rematch? And his response was, I will be tougher. There are calls from some people that say, you know, Joshua shouldn't go in an immediate rematch. This isn't Ruiz. You know, this is a completely different fighter. If he does go into the rematch, how tough of a task is it going to be to reclaim those belts?
I think that rematch will be tough. And the reason why is because he would have a lot of confidence off that win. And what they're going to do, they're going to watch the videos back and see different ways on how they can improve that performance. That's why it's going to be really, really difficult. And they're going to probably be ready for whatever Joshua brings. So yeah, it's a tough fight. Everybody knew, you know, the boxing experts, they knew it's going to be a tough fight. And some people even favored Usyk to win. But it's going to be even tougher now with the confidence. That confidence element is a big factor in boxing.
We saw what it meant to Usyk at the end. He obviously was crying as his hands were being raised to be the undisputed cruiserweight champion and now become the unified heavyweight champion. How much of a problem is Usyk now in the heavyweight division?
It's interesting. And I'll tell you this. Styles make fights. So you could put a man like Chisora, which people would probably say Chisora is not world level or is not on that level, the elite level. And we saw what Chisora done. Chisora had the best game plan. And I even said that Chisora won that fight for me by a round or two. He was more aggressive, was coming forward. But they say Usyk landed the cleaner shots, but he was coming forward. So I favored Chisora for the win. I wasn't really happy with that result, and a lot of other people agreed with that. But how did he box him? He didn't box him. He roughed him up. It was a street fight. It just reminds me of when Manny Stewart was in the corner with Lennox Lewis and he was fighting Vitaly Klitschko. He said, "This what you're doing now is not working." He wasn't used to boxing taller guys. It was more short guys. He used his reach, used his movement, but he had long limbs. Vitaly Klitschko was taller, probably same height, and he had long limbs. So he said, scrap that. Now, let's take it to the streets. Jab him, push him off balance with that jab, rough him up, hit here, hit there, hit anywhere. Like, we're taking this to the streets. And with that, he managed to get the victory. So it's just different things that need to be changed. I think that's going to be a big determining factor.
Well, we look at the future and see what it holds. Obviously, we've got another big heavyweight fight coming in 2 weeks' time with Wilder Fury, and the landscape can change completely if Fury was to lose. Rich, I'll just end on you. Camp's over. It's been, what, 20 odd months since you last went in the ring. I know we spoke about it, but next week it's fight time. Ready?
I'm ready. I'm so happy. Look at the smile on my face. I didn't smile throughout this interview. No, really, I'm really happy to get back in the ring and do what I do best. And I got my plans, my vision, and I just want to realize them. So I'm more than excited.
Richard Riakporhe, IFL TV. Thank you very much.
Respect.